I need to put that pipe on the cutting edge of this snowblower, and I'm looking for ideas from you guys on how I can do it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another gloomy episode of the Mindful Homestead. We've settled into a pretty, I don't even know what to call it. We've settled into a pretty gross January. It's been just above freezing every day for the last 4 or 5 days and just below freezing every night. There's no new snow. You can see the chicken and duck coop is gross as they've tracked their poo everywhere. Finn doesn't seem to mind. And Emma doesn't really seem to mind. No new snow also means that the driveway has essentially turned into an ice luge. Emma, come on, let's go out front.
Puppy.
Come on.
Puppy.
You can do it, come on. You can see behind me the two very prominent tracks from tires going down the driveway, and at this point, essentially, if you are coming up or going down the driveway, you'd better have four-wheel drive because it's just those tracks are ice. We don't have a spreader currently. Eventually, I'm either going to buy one or build one or figure something out. But what I want to do today is I want to do some figuring on a cutting edge for the snowblower because I know it's going to snow again this year. I mean, it never stops. We never get our last snowfall in January. That's just not how it works here in New England. So it's going to snow again, and I want to be ready for it this time versus not being ready for it, which is kind of how it's been all season so far. You see her back there? All summer long, all she wanted to do was ride on the tractor. And now, we're scared of it. Right? You want to go for a ride on the tractor?
No.
Come on, let's go for a little ride on the tractor.
No way.
Okay, all right, we won't go for a ride. The problem with this snowblower in our driveway, especially when it's early in the season, which it's not right now, things are frozen, but early in the season, we have to move these skids all the way down, which lifts the snowblower up. And as you can see, there's a cutting edge right here that's bolted on. And that cutting edge rides parallel to the surface of the driveway. It's not like on a plow where it comes up and down and scrapes the snow off. This is perfectly flat. And it works really well if it's riding on pavement or asphalt or a really, really hard packed surface. The problem is our driveway is not flat and it doesn't really have a good surface for that cutting edge to ride on. And especially in the early part of the season or the later part of the season where the driveway is soft, it's thawed out, this has a tendency to really dig in and uproot a bunch of material, sticks and rocks and stones and sand and all sorts of stuff that the driveway is just made of. This thing digs it right up and throws it out the chute, which is a bummer because you don't want to be throwing your driveway into the woods. And when you're scooping up all those rocks and things into the chute during the early part of the year, I can't tell you how many times I have to stop and change out shear pins on this thing. Now I know the shear pins are just doing what they're supposed to do. However, in the early part of the year when you're having to stop every 10 to 15 minutes to swap out shear pins, you know, a 30-minute job can turn into an hour to an hour and a half long job really quickly, especially if the snow is a little bit wet and things are freezing up and it's hard to get the old shear pins out. It's really just not a fun thing to have to be doing. So we want to make this a little bit more effective. Now for plows and some other snow blowers, a great option is to take a piece of heavy duty rubber, whether it's like a stall mat or a piece of conveyor belt material or something like that. And you can actually bolt that along the bottom in between a cutting edge or a fastening strip and have that ride on the ground, and it will scrape over the soft stuff and kind of leave it behind. It works really well for uneven and soft surfaces. As much as I'd like to just bolt a piece of conveyor belt material or stall mat or something in here, it's not going to work because the cutting edge on this is horizontal, and it would just stick that piece of rubber out further underneath the augers. It wouldn't actually ride along the ground or anything. But I had an idea, and somebody had mentioned that they've used PVC pipe on the end of a plow to make it a little bit easier to run on soft ground. So I have this piece of 2-inch black gas pipe kicking around, and I'm thinking maybe we can do something with this. I got lucky that the piece of gas pipe I have is just slightly wider than the overall width of the snowblower, so it'll be really easy to cut it. And what I'm thinking is that I'm going to run a notch down the length of it. So essentially just cut a slot this whole way down. Once I have that slot cut down the entire length of the pipe, I'm thinking I can literally just slip it right over that cutting edge. And then to tension it and keep it on, I think I may run a strap with a hook. I'll drill a hole right here in the back side of it, or a spot where I can get to it with a hook. And I'll run it under and then hook it to that right there, and then tension it to that so it won't fall off the front. What I'm hoping happens is that any small rocks and things like that will just kind of get pushed under the pipe because it has that slightly rounded edge on the bottom. It won't cut into them and want to dig them up. But any snow that's sitting on top of the ground, even soft ground, will get pushed up into the auger and blown out the chute. This is really just kind of a brainstorming video. This is something where I'm looking for input from other people who maybe have done something like this before. On this particular snowblower, the BX2822, which is the commercial grade blower for the BX tractor, it doesn't have that plow type edge on it where you can just put a rubber cutting edge on it. So this is going to be a little bit different. I know if I throw PVC on there, it's going to snap the first rock it hits. It's just the nature of PVC in cold weather. It's not going to stay in one piece. This black pipe I think will do really well. It's going to rust, but really the biggest thing is that attachment system. How can I get it to stay onto the blower? Because I don't want to weld it to the blower or anything like that, because I want to keep the blower in returnable to factory shape essentially. If you have comments on this, leave them down below. Help me with this because I'm trying to figure out how to make it work, and I'd appreciate the input of the tons of people that watch tractor videos here on our channel. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I look forward to hearing everyone's ideas. Bye.